OK, Michael, let's move into the forwards now. And first up there, we look at the lock forward position.
Yes, a position that was, lacking a bloke that played there all the time when Norm Carr was injured. And I'm thinking of Norm Carr from Western Suburbs, but he broke his arm early. Ian French, he did perform well, I must admit, for Wynnum Manly and sliced the defence. Paul Bardia from Norths. Bruce Astell, Bruce, a former centre, playing lock forward for Souths. And Pat Shepardson, the fellow that came up from the Gold Coast last season, playing for Brothers. He was, what shall we say, a utility forward who dropped into that lock position, Bill.
Well, here are the three nominations for the lock forward position right now. The first one is Pat Shepardson from Brothers, who performed once again very consistently throughout the season. Next up is Bruce Astell, the centre, turned, he was playing 5/8 on this particular day, so his versatility, of course, we know very, very well indeed. And the other is Paul Bardia, who never failed to turn in a good game for Northern Suburbs throughout the year. They're the three nominations, Farmer, and I know you have the winner sitting in front of you, so let's tell us, who was our lock forward in the Super M team?
The man who's bobbed up is Pat Shepardson, and he's the man from the Gold Coast I was speaking about.
And a very consistent player, also a very good goal kicker. Let's have a look at that aspect of his game coming up right now. So let's see whether he pulls this one right round or whether he can get it on course. Shepardson on his way. High, wide, and handsome. There he is, Pat Shepardson in action. He's our lock forward. Congratulations to Pat. Well, of all the positions where there are a lot of players that could fill them, second row's got to be the one.
Yes, all the pros are in the second row. They're professional second rowers, and there was heaps of them. Of course, the fellas who you could start with, Brian Needling from Valleys, who played in the State of Origin match, his mate Fullerton Smith from Redcliffe, who played superbly and tackled very strongly, Bob Linder from Souths, another name that jumps to mind, Les Clear, the big second rower that came up from down south, Trevor Patterson, who won the award the other night, the Rothmans Gold Award. Vic Ty, a real tireless worker. Unfortunately, Vic's injured, but he played very well for Redcliffe during the season. Paul Gardner, the big second rower from North, he played well too early. And Gavin Jones, the block-busting Eastern Suburbs second rower. Lots of good second rowers around.
Certainly are. Let's have a look now, Michael, at the nominations. And first up is that gentleman just referred to, the block-busting second rower from East, had a great year. That, of course, is Gavin Jones, big fella that used his weight and will be using it on the weekend. Paul Gardner from Northern Suburbs. They didn't play a lot of games at Lang Park, but he did perform extremely well right throughout the season. Vic Ty, a tireless worker for Redcliffe, and a player who's figured very, very strongly in these awards right throughout the year. And last but certainly not least is big Les Cleal from Brothers, who, as you can see here, is using his bulk to the greatest of advantage to score a try there at Lang Park a few weeks ago.
And I have to add, he had a bit of bulk to use too, didn't he?
Certainly did, Farmer.
Well,
all right, you've got a winner there.
My word, I've got two winners. Yes, Gavin Jones is one of the second rowers, and Paul Gardner from North is the other winner.
All right, well, on this occasion we might have a look at just one of those in action, and that is Gavin Jones.
Dummy half Saal, East putting on the pressure. Clearing it across there to Lindenberg. Long one to McNally. Juggled it. Now over the top. Picked up by Backer. Backer sends it back inside to Jones. Jones sets sail for the corner as he got it down. Waiting for the referee. Lewis disputing it. Try. It is a try. Awarded there by referee Barry Gomersall.
Well, talking about using your bulk and so forth, he did it beautifully on that occasion, Mick.
Yes, although Wally didn't agree with the decision at the time by the look of that.
Yes, a little bit upset about that one. All right, there are our second rowers, Gavin Jones and Paul Gardner. That, of course, leaves us with the front row yet to go. We'll be back to sort that out. Just a reminder once again that our Dally M Superstar winner, that's the man with the most number of points at the end of the voting, will receive that great trip for two with Cathay Pacific going to London, and we'll be throwing in $1,000 spending money from Cathay also. A tremendous prize for our Player of the Year in the Dally M Superstar Awards. Well, front row, Mick, I know I've been saying about all sorts of players, a lot of nominations being eligible, but in the front row position, it's even more so, I think.
Yes, heaps, and plenty of ability there. And the first name that comes to mind is Paul Kahn, who had a ripping game last weekend. And, of course, his adversary out there was Al McGuinness last weekend, Big Al from Valleys, Richie Paulson, a promising young front rower. Going quite well too. Got injured though, unfortunately. Mark Zillman, the big fellow from down at Wynnum Manly. Greg Dowling, a late runner. Greg probably won't poll too many points. Mark Creer, a young fellow from Western Suburbs. Brad Testman, the international front rower from Southern Suburbs. And Bob Calloway, another fellow you could throw in the front row, basically a second rower. Dave Moffat, another fellow that jumps to mind. And the youngster from East, there's another fellow there. I nearly forgot, Cavill Hugh, who played very well.
So there are plenty of nominations, or plenty of players eligible for that. Let's have a look at the nominations right now, and there are 3 of them here, so that'll narrow the field down somewhat. Here's one of them, Mark Creer, has had a bit of a late start to the season, but turned in some great football for Western Suburbs, one of their consistent star players. Brad Tessman, what a year for him, from club football to test football. Here he is in the State of Origin, unloading beautifully, and there's his South's teammate in Bob Callaway, who's the other nomination for the front row position. So there you have 3 of them. We have to narrow the field down to 2, Michael, and you'll be able to do that for us right now.
And I have, and the 2 winners are Mark Creer and Brad Tessman, the 2 lads that fill that bill.
Well, 2 very, very consistent players once again.
Yes, I have to say, big fellas usually in the front row, those fellas on the smaller side, but acquitted themselves very well indeed, didn't they?
Gave tireless performances, enough to influence players in the opposing teams to give them enough points to fill the posies. So there are 2 front rowers. Let's have a look at them in action right now.
But here's Tessman over the quarterway. Tessman through a couple of tackles, still going. Can he get it away? Yes, he can. Brennan's away on the halfway mark. They won't catch him. Mitch Brennan over the quarter line, racing away, and is going to be over underneath the posts. And Queensland roar to a lead of 16 points to 0. Ferguson turns it back inside to Mark Creer. Creer bustling his way through. Lewis going out after him. Oh, he collides with the fullback coming in at Morris. The ball rolls loose.
There are 2 front rowers, Brad Tessman and also Mark Creer. Congratulations to them. 1 position yet to fill. Who are we going to put in the middle of those 2, Michael?
Yes, very difficult. A fellow like Shane Bernardin, maybe, from Redcliffe, used to play with Norths. Eddie Muller, promising hooker from Southern Suburbs. We had the state hooker, Greg Canescu, he may be a runner. Trevor Bailey from Brothers, who performed very well all the time. I saw him at Lang Park. And David Green, that Will of the Wisp hooker from down in Willem Manley.
He's got a fair amount of speed too, hasn't he?
Got a lot of speed for a fellow in that position. They're usually not noted for that.
Alrighty, well, let's have a look at the 2 nominations now for our hooker position. And the first one is coming up right now. From Brothers, Trevor Bailey. And he's a player that never stopped moving for them the whole year. And the other one is little David Green, who's a player possessed of tremendous speed and is playing in a very good side, and he gave some top-class performances throughout the year. But there can only be 1 winner.
And he is Trevor Bailey from Brothers.
Well, I don't think too many people would argue with that on his performances throughout the year. And that's one thing we've got to remember, haven't we?
Yes, performances on the year, and these fellows are judged by their fellow players in the opposition, so you can't get closer judges or better judges possibly than that, Bill.
Well, let's have another look now at Trevor Bailey in action.
Lining up with it is the Brothers halfback Robinson to Grogan. Grogan outside then to Jeff Burns. Burns still going, turns it back inside to McAlane. He's being chased over there by Rolls, got away from him, turned it back to Grogan. This is good stuff from Brothers. Turns it back to Bailey, this will be a try, good try too, Trevor Bailey in. Burns stepping, dodging, and gets over the quarter line. Dummy half is Hurst. He'll send it to Stafford. Stafford back to Trevor Bailey, try number 2 coming up for the little hooker, is it? Yes it is, Trevor Bailey over for the try.
Here's our hooker in the Dally M Super team, and that is Trevor Bailey. Michael, we'll have a look at that team in its full other side of this break, eh?
Beautiful.
All right, be back in a moment. And welcome back to our presentation of the Dally M Awards for 1983. And Mick, we've announced the winners, the top point scorers in all of those positions. We might have a look at that team right now, shall we?
Very interesting team, Bill.
And here they are, right from the top.
And not a team you would be ashamed to go around with. Very interesting selections in some of them, but they would do the job.
A couple of surprises, maybe. I suppose some people will be talking about the fact there are, 3 Brothers players in there?
Yes, possibly, but you must remember these players were chosen by the opposition players on the day, so they must have performed very well indeed to get the votes.
So if you've lodged an entry for our Dally M Super team through the Daily Sun, and you've put your entries in closing yesterday at midday, that winner will be announced tomorrow to win a great trip with Cathay Pacific, of course, flying to Hong Kong and staying at the Lee Gardens Hotel. So the winner coming up tomorrow morning in the Daily Sun. But the one we're wondering about now, of course, is who is the winner of our Dally M Superstar Award. And that meant, of course, once again, with Cathay Pacific flying to London with his wife, girlfriend, whoever else he may care to take, and $1,000 spending money also coming up from Cathay Pacific. We have the General Manager of TVO, Ron Archer, with us now to announce the winner. Ron, there's been tremendous amount of interest in this competition.
Oh, great competition, Bill, and thanks very much to the Daily Sun and to our prize givers, such as Cathay Pacific. It's been a wonderful competition.
All Right, well, without any further ado, let's get into it. Who is the Dally M Superstar Award winner for 1983? The man will be flying off with Cathay Pacific to London.
Bill, the winner of the 1983 Dally M Award is Gene Miles. Congratulations, Gene.
There he is in action, Gene Miles. Mick, I don't think there'll be too many people to argue about that. He's been up there in the running most of the season. People thought that maybe the injury might have put him out of contention, but it hasn't, and he's finally won through.
My word, and great effort when you're out for 2 weeks at that particular part of the season and still get through and come up winners. Great.
Well, he went very close on the Rothmans the other night. Yes. Could have quite easily got there, but just didn't make it. So congratulations to you, Gene. And that presentation of the Dally M Award will take place up here at TVO Sunday week. That's Sunday week, the Sydney Grand Final day. We have a special 2-hour rugby league show from 11 right through till 1 o'clock. We'll be making the presentation then on Sunday, September 25. But just to get you in the mood of things, Gene, you'll be flying with Cathay Pacific, and here's some of the luxury that's ahead of you.
700 years ago, Marco Polo, the world's first real traveller, crossed the roof of the world to bring together the best of East and West.
But even I, Marco Polo, never dreamed such wonders could exist. I never knew of traveling companions with the grace and beauty of 9 Asian lands. I never traveled in such luxury, nor was I so richly sustained. Never did I journey in such experienced hands as aboard Cathay Pacific's Rolls-Royce powered fleet. Few believed me when I spoke of the wonders I had seen on my travels. But you can, because you can fly the real traveler's way. Cathay Pacific.
That's for our winner from Cathay Pacific. Congratulations, Gene Miles. Just a reminder once again, the presentation coming up Sunday, September 25, in our Rugby League show. Special 2-hour show going from 11 through till 1 o'clock as a lead up to the Sydney Grand Final. We'll take a break and be back in just a moment. Some of the action that we can expect this coming Sunday in the Grand Final at Lang Park. And a reminder also, we have a special 2-hour show of our Rugby League program, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock through to 1, Mick.
Yes, and we'll bring them all the action and warm them up for that Grand Final.
And talking about action, the main action, of course, from the Grand Final will be Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Now, we've moved the news to 5:30, and the telecast of the Grand Final will come up at 6 o'clock, and that goes right through until 8 o'clock, so you won't miss any of the action this coming Sunday.
I've moved into the news at last, is that right,
You've taken over the news, Mick, yes. All right, well, that's about it. Congratulations once again to Gene Miles. Thanks to our good friends at the Daily Sun and also Cathay Pacific for making the awards possible for this year. We'll be back with you on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock with our Rugby League show. Until then...
Bye-bye, Billy.
And a very good evening, everyone.